what is an opportunity zone? And then if you can talk a little bit about what makes sense about them, why they might be a great opportunity, and also some of the overexuberance and what you've labeled as zombie projects. Like, what are some things to watch out for there?
Sure. So opportunity zones was a law that was passed, I believe it was late 2017 or early 2018. And the goal there was to look at the portion of the United States that was underperforming or depressed and provide an extremely powerful tax incentive investors to invest in those areas. So about 12% of the geographic land of the United States is in opportunity zones. There are 8,700 opportunity zones in the US. Some are maybe a square mile, some are 20 square miles. So they're all different sizes. They're mostly census tracts. And when calculating or deciding whether a particular piece of land or area or neighborhood should be a opportunity zone or not, they used basic math where they said, okay, how does this area perform relative to the area next to it, right? Is its income level lower? Is its population growth lower? So they looked at demographics like income and population growth and said, is this area underperforming the areas around it? So interestingly enough, there are opportunity zones in the United States where the median household income is as low as $20,000. And then there are others that are as high as $100,000. And you might say, wait a minute, why would anybody consider this to be an opportunity zone when it's $100,000? Well, because the areas immediately around it are at 200,000 or 300,000, right? So you've got basically an area that's underperforming relative to the areas around it. So you ended up with these opportunity zones. And the tax benefits are fairly complex, but basically, unlike 1031, which is not a tax benefit, it is a tax deferral. You're pushing your taxes out into the future. Opportunity zones are a true tax forgiveness program, right? It allows you to forgive your taxes from the profits that you make by investing into an opportunity zone. Now, on the other hand, 1031 is fairly simple. You know, you can basically sell a duplex and buy a duplex and you're done. With opportunity zones, you have to invest mostly in development projects. You can't just go out there and buy, you know, a duplex and consider that to be okay. You have to make a very substantial improvement to that, right? And that substantial improvement means that most opportunity zone projects are either development or heavy lift rehab, right? So Chicago is a perfect place to do opportunity zone projects because you guys very often have a 100-year-old property where the bones are phenomenal. Like it's gonna last for another 200 years. After my 4,000 square foot home here in California has fallen down, that thing is still going to be there because of how solid it is and made with brick, not like drywall that my house is built with. And so the bones are there, but you really have to conduct a full gut rehab. Well, those are really great for opportunity zone. And there's multiple benefits here. So firstly, the people that are doing the rehab, you can actually partner with let's say an investor in California or New York who has a huge amount of taxes that they need to, pay this year because they had Tesla stock or Apple stock or Nvidia stock. This stock went up, 2x or 3x. They made a huge amount of money. Now they have a massive amount of capital gain taxes to pay. And if they don't want to pay those taxes, so you go to them and say, look, why don't you buy this? And I will rehab it for you. And it's going to meet the requirements of the opportunity zones. And now you've pushed your taxes back and you have a cash flowing asset. So that's opportunity zones. It's really done right. The single greatest spiff or the single greatest program that real estate has had since the 1980s. So it's phenomenally beneficial. But oddly enough, you asked me this question about, the downside, the irrational exuberance. Well, the strength of the program is also its greatest weakness. By definition, the areas that are opportunity zones are areas that are either depressed or underperforming. And so what's happening is that people have started, because there's so much opportunity zone money, so many investors that are so crazed about, oh my God, I have to pay huge amounts of taxes, that they stop looking at the asset itself. They're so worried about not paying taxes that they stop worrying about whether they can keep their principal. Who's going to care about savings of taxes on profits if there are no profits? Right? If you lose your principal, who gives a damn about saving taxes on phantom profits that you never actually made because you lost all your money? So there's places in the United States that are horrible investments. I mean, when there's websites out there like investrial.com that rank all of these 8,700 opportunity zones, and so if it gets a ranking of, let's say, 70% or higher, then I'd suggest it's a great place to invest in for the right project. But then the place that out of 100, and people are investing and paying for land and for projects in the same way as a non-depressed place. They're paying the same amount of money that people would pay for an area that is regular, it's not in the opportunity zone. And so there's this incredible amount of irrational exuberance that we are seeing in that space that I think it's gonna cause a crash at some point in the future.
The other thing we see is landlords trying to jack up their pricing in these opportunity zones. Sellers, because they think they can get people that are not making rational decisions, like to your point, are going to pay whatever is out there for these sellers to sell at. So that's what we're seeing on the selling side of things.
So, so the question really was, are landlords taxes? And my answer is yes, they are, and they should, right? Because the opportunity zone investors are simply looking at this as a tax benefit, so they're overpaying. So if you were in that space, you'd probably jack up your prices too.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think one of the other big things is the 10-year commitment as well, right? Like, because a lot of times when these developers come in, it's a 3-year, 5-year plan, and this is a lot of times a different tenant base as well that they're going to have to deal with. And in 10 years, that's a long time. That's going through probably multiple cycles, right?
It's an eternity, and which is why I think that a lot of people that are getting involved in opportunity zone projects are not set up right.